Red Pine Road was called that because of the species of tree that covered the ridge, a tree as short as it was tangled. The men who'd first tamed the area would have been disappointed in the timber. They were seeking the much larger hemlocks for the bark, which they used for tanning hide. Those men were also the ones who almost drove the Pennsylvania deer to extinction in the process of cutting away first growth. Eventually they, the Game Commission or somebody, had transplanted Michigan whitetails to replace the local population, thinking nobody would notice. But some families, mine included, remembered through the years that the Pennsylvania deer had been a smaller, less obvious animal. I had to push through the thicket of pine, and an acre or so of beech tag, blackberry brambles and maples turning the color of cherry bubblegum. Then a tromp through the shallow parts of the creek. You won't believe me, but I smelled the body before I saw it, almost by a mile. That's because it had been warm, and something had eaten out the man's guts, from thighs to ribcage. Where he lay was close to the free fall, where kids used to jump, but not the exact spot. You could tell the body was a man's, an old hairy chest spattered with black blood. He wore a plain blue short-sleeved shirt. His head was gone, and where it should have been was a ring of dried blood, suggesting impact. But for the missing head, this would have been a job for the Commonwealth and their game people, not my problem. His arms were spread wide, as if drawing power from the rippled rock below or the sky above, or both. His legs were white and hairless where his jeans had been torn away, and he still had one black leather boot on. Flies circled above him. I took out a pair of earplugs and put one in each nostril. The hillside rose above me, covered with ferns, trees, and moss. I stood there, shifting from leg to leg, looking away and waiting. A fly bit me. I came out of my brown study, taped the scene off, and waited for the others. Ordinarily, the medical examiner, Wyatt Brophy, would take charge of the scene, and he picked his way down the ravine to join me. But because an animal was likely involved, Y deferred to Sean Laughlin, who was trained in attack scene protocol, as most newer COs had to be. Sean arrived shortly after Y and got to work. Anything that looked like a bite mark, Sean shot with his digital camera, laying his ruler into each photo, one shot with and one without. He also collected saliva from torn flaps of white skin, which trembled at the delicate touch of his swab. He shooed at flies. "This it?" said Sean. "No campsite? Tent?" "This is it," I said. "We're gonna have to get the bear, then." "Bear?" He showed me a paper envelope with strands of heavy black hair he'd collected. "Huh," I said. "Well then, where was the head, I wanted to know." "The biologist is on her way from Harrisburg," Sean said. "She should be here in an hour." I looked above us and down the ravine to where the body lay. "Sean, is it a problem if I climb up?" "Go around, not straight up. You'll get dirt on the scene." So I did, walking past another creek bend and then up a gentler incline, until I caught a glimmer of creek below me. On my stomach, I eased down to a shale ledge and peered over it. There was the dead man below me. Thud. I took a couple of photos. I had braced myself against the trunk of a narrow beech, whose roots had forced themselves through the layers of rock to the surrounding earth. Just above where my hand was, in a crook, the faintest scuff in the tree's gray bark. A small disturbance, a freshness. The mark was about an inch wide. I took a photo of that. Down below, I stood next to Y. Brophy for a moment. "Look for signs he'd been tied," I said. "Rope burns." Y raised his eyebrows, but showed no real surprise. "Look at this."